Well, speaking of doing dumb shit, welcome back, everybody.
Woo!
uh, Last we left our party, we had spent the rest of the day in the bathhouse, and uh, the professor took an interest in trying to determine where Ren came from. So there was a little bit of investigation as to the point where Ren had woken up, and it was determined that there is some divine intervention fuckery going on. After such investigations were concluded, the party decided to take a break, have a fun night, enjoy the carnival, played some games, won some cash and prizes, and the professor became obsessed with trying to purchase an axe beak. When we had concluded our session, the gang was all heading back towards the Blue Elephant for the evening. With that, put you back on the map, and I'll throw it back to you guys.
I really hope this recording starts with us talking about nonsense right before your thing. All the
So the lights of the carnival are still going. The sounds and the smells are starting to subside for the evening as it gets late, and the carnival rides begin to pack in for the night. You guys find yourselves walking
You're cutting
through.
in and out.
Yeah.
No, freaking! I swear it's OBS. Hang on. If I just wait
You
for
know
like
what's
30 seconds, it'll
Yeah.
be fine again.
So we should just BS around for like 30 seconds.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. We're good. You're good now.
Oh, all right.
It's fine now. I think it's just that for that few seconds with transitioning maps.
I don't get it. That's such a weird thing.
Yeah, I don't know. I
I don't
think
know.
it's just the processing power of OBS and the computer's trying to figure out like how do I do this
Technology,
and
man.
roll 20 at the same time, and then it's like, oh, I remember now. Anyway,
Technology, man.
so you're making your way back to the Blue Elephant after the evening's festivities. Everyone's starting to pack in for the night, um, and as you make your way to the Blue Elephant, there's a small crowd as you enter the tavern. Hilly is busy. Serving up some late night snacks to those who are wandering in this late in the evening, and you are free to do as you please.
We get some dinner then, and just have a nice dinner together before the evening ends.
I think that sounds wonderful.
Great. Yeah, I'll go. I'll go let Hilly know. I just trot over to Hilly and let her know that all of us will be eating.
Hilly smiles at you with her normal matronly smile, and she says, "Oh, good evening. Were you enjoying the carnival?"
Yeah, we had a great time. Um, but we're going to be turning in for the night, and we just wanted to see if we could have some dinner.
Sure. Leg of lamb and roasted potatoes on the menu tonight.
Oh, that sounds great. For me, I didn't actually ask if anyone else wanted anything different, but I think just what you have is fine.
Oh, great.
And if anyone has different, we'll figure it out.
Oh, great. I will bring some out to you right away.
Thank you. And then she's going to go and just sit around the table with everyone else and wait for food to come out. So today was really nice.
It was very interesting.
Yeah. Professor, are you actually going to go buy the large, the bird?
We'll see how the feeling hits tomorrow.
Oh, you think it might have been just a spur of the moment decision.
It's easy to get caught up in the thrill of 300 pounds of avian power between your legs.
Sure, yeah, I mean, sure.
He kind of smirks a bit, like, maybe next time you'll try it. Thrilling.
I mean, maybe. It didn't look. I mean, it did look fairly safe, and everyone seemed to have a good time.
Yeah. What's there to lose?
I suppose that's a good point. Well, maybe tomorrow.
Yeah, maybe tomorrow. I mean, there's always the whole don't have enough money thing, but that's a tomorrow problem.
Well, I mean, that is not really a problem, but is a tomorrow. Problem, I guess, is the good word.
Well, speaking of problems, today was a lovely distraction for the things to come. And I don't want to really bring the mood down, but perhaps we should probably discuss what the plan is for tomorrow or the day after. Where are we going? What are we doing? And how are we doing it?
Well, maybe that is something we should leave until tomorrow and see if what everyone feels like. I mean, she's gonna look at Reverie. I know it's been kind of a day, but Reverie, have you thought about? Did you want to go back to the headmistress and talk to her tomorrow and get some more answers?
Reverie pauses, writing in her book, and looks up. I mean, I guess I can ask her if she can help, maybe. But I've learned a lot from Alatar. The book.
Oh,
Alatar's the book.
oh, it's actually talking to you now.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I saw you writing in it, but I thought maybe you were just. I don't know why. I guess I thought you were writing like a diary thing. Oh, well, that's great. What does he say? If you don't have to tell us if you don't want to.
Well, it's a little complicated.
Okay.
A lot of complicated. This is Temerity's spellbook, or a copy of Temerity's spellbook.
The woman that Noriko said used to be a professor.
Yeah. And she did have a lot of clones.
Okay.
And I am one, but I'm not.
Okay. Well, so this is you have a cloned body then, but you're not actually Temerity, you're Reverie.
I think so.
Okay. Well, it is a bit complicated, isn't it? But at the same time, it's not that complicated. You're still you. Maybe. I mean, maybe something happened to you and Temerity was trying to save you? Could that... I mean, if a clone body is... The headmistress said a clone body was supposed to be used to bring the person who cast the spell, like if something happened to him, right? It is supposed to like pop back into another body somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
So did...
Apparently, this this body, however you want to look at it,
Well, it's your body now.
was just made in case Temerity died.
Okay.
Between that and the timelines, it not adding up. I don't think that Temerity and I ever actually met.
Huh.
Because I only remember like the past like month. And according to Alatar, the last time he saw Temerity was like 6 months ago.
Do we know that Temerity is actually still alive? I know that we saw that fake
person,
Kiona, who turned into someone that looked like Temerity, but if they
she
could
also
look
looked like Kiona too, yeah.
Exactly.
What if... I'm gonna go out and guess some things right now. So if Alatar, the book, last saw Temerity 6 months ago, maybe Temerity didn't die 6 months ago. Maybe something happened to her and she tried... Noriko mentioned that like the thing that was going on with the cult members, that maybe with the Garnet Hand being all out of sorts and things, maybe this cult is trying to force people to do things. What if they tried to force Temerity to do something and she is captured, or she got away, or she got you out, maybe? Or something happened to you and she tried to send you somewhere safe? Could that have happened? Or is that just not possible with the type of spell this is? What if if they needed to look like Temerity, maybe, and they don't really know Temerity, maybe they were like keeping it in somewhere. And I don't know. Or I guess, I mean, she could be dead, but then it doesn't really explain how you got here.
What if Temerity reached out through her link to you, Reverie, to wake you up to find her and save her? Because she, while maybe not dead, was in a very bad spot.
Is that even possible? I don't know, but if anybody's going to be able to explain what happened to me, I think at this point it's probably going to be Temerity. If she's alive.
Well, it sounds like we need to find Temerity then. I think that should be the first thing we try to do. Not only is it going to help Reverie, but the person who was pretending to be Kiona, turned into Reverie. And if she's caught up in something, maybe she needs help. Maybe we can help her.
Yeah, but what if that is Temerity? Do we really want to go meet that person again?
If that person really was Temerity, and she was doing the thing she was doing, Someone needs to stop her. I don't know that that's going to be us, but we should at least try to look, shouldn't we? Since we're the ones who are actually able to go now. I mean, the headmistress said that she'll call some of her friends, but it's going to take time, and the Sentinel said no one trusts him, which I don't blame people for not trusting him. And if it means that we get answers for you, Reverie, then I think that's worth it. And plus, Yuki will be there, and Yuki's very terrifying and fast.
Yuki smiles serenely.
Yeah, that doesn't make it better. That makes it a little more terrifying is what it does. But, like, I'm glad you're on our side. That's good. That's a good thing.
I'm glad I'm on your side too.
I'll just reach out and put a hand on Reverie's arm. If you don't want to go and find Temerity, we don't have to. But it does sound like it might be the best way to get answers for you. And if you want answers, then we'll go do it. Together.
To that, you hear Noriko pipes up, and she says, I agree. Whether that shapeshifter was Reverie or not, they certainly must have some sort of information about your situation. If you want to find more about that, then I suggest we go after her, but if you're against it, then we don't have to.
You don't have to make the decision tonight either. If you need to take a bit to think about it.
I don't need to take a bit. I want answers more than I am afraid of whoever that was.
I just hug her.
Sounds like the decision's been made then.
So we go after Temerity then, or the Temerity look-alike person, or we'll go for that person first because they're probably the one with some answers as to either where Temerity currently is, or if she is Temerity, or anything else. So, gonna look at Yuki now. Does that mean we should try to find the cave that you smelled and saw and felt strange about?
I think that's the logical next step. We did have a few leads as far as that is concerned.
Right. The retired commander, he said that there was a cave near Red's Wharf, right?
Mm-hmm.
By a lighthouse?
Mm-hmm.
I
There's a
guess that's the
cave under
nearest-
the Skyhorn Lighthouse.
And he said that was the nearest, well, first cave that he could think of, right? That wasn't, there was one up north, but it was cold, and you said it wasn't cold.
It was
Like,
not cold.
like snow cold.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, so I guess we go that way first?
Noriko again will speak up, and she says that it may also be worth it to investigate what's going on with the Garnet Hand, because it seems like they're involved with whatever this shapeshifter was doing, and Red's Wharf seems to be the most likely location for us to investigate.
Do you ever have a bit where you hear something that's both exciting and a little bit make you sick to your stomach at the same time? Because I always really wanted to make like a thieves guild, because I think that would just be neat, and you know, that would be, and then it would be neat, but then now it might be taken over by an evil person who can change form. So that makes it not as fun. Also, it's not a really comforting name. You know, there was another one that was called the Shoe Shiners, and it was a much more like clandestine sort of with a thieves guild, but we also do something fun kind of name. And this one just sounds like they're, garnet hand sounds like it's a red hand and they're gonna kill you. That's not really the same kind of vibe, is it?
Why would shoe shiners steal things? I don't understand.
I think it's because people talk around people that they consider servants, so they hear things and they you can pick up a lot because people are just having we're having conversations right now. Sometimes that's helpful, I guess, to people who are trying to get in. I don't really know how that can be useful. And maybe they're talking about when they're going out of town and they're going to go rob them when they're out of town or something.
Ren looks over at the proprietor of the inn. Are you a shoe shiner?
She looks back at you, Ren, and she looks confused. She says, "No, I'm many things. I'm a baker, and I'm a homemaker. I'm a bartender, but I've never been a shoe shiner in my life."
Huh. Does that mean they are not in this town?
Maybe. I did only hear about them from when I was in Weyburn but it was really just Weyburn and then here, so I don't really know. Maybe here is just a different thing.
Interesting.
Ren, make me a history check. You may add advantage if you wish for consequences.
Consequences.
I'm sorry, I had a Juliet screaming. What was that?
I would like a history check from you, and you may make this with advantage if you don't mind taking some consequences.
Yeah, we'll try advantage. Let's see what happens, because that was really shitty. Fucking got worse. Awesome. Okay, take your
God.
turn, little buddy.
Rolling like me tonight.
Ren, you take 3 points of psychic damage as something somehow seems to tickle on the edge of your memory, and the only thing that comes to mind is, I think I know a guy.
I was gonna say that out loud.
God.
Ow. I think I know a guy. What does that even mean? Ow, my head hurts.
I don't know. I was about to ask you what that means.
You mean the professor? He's a guy.
No, that is the professor. I know him.
A different guy. Kenneth?
Yeah, Ren is just... Again, it looks like he's trying to wrinkle up his nose, but again, Skullhead can't really do that.
I just imagine every time you say that Ren does that, his head tilts ever so slightly up. Just like,
I think it's gone. I don't know.
Are you alright? You look like your head a little bit. Did you get another headache?
Yes.
Do you want some tea?
Does that help headaches?
I can.
Okay.
Wait, did the headache just come on while you were trying to recall something? Just out of nowhere?
Yeah, it's happened a few times today.
He kind of
Oh.
looks around and casts Detect Magic.
Other than what is on your companion's professor, you detect nothing magical in this room.
Okay. Try some... They're right. Try some tea. Warm. No, nothing cold.
Yuki will make her a tea.
Okay, warm tea for Ren.
It
She'll make
happens to be.
a
Sorry,
tea
go
that
ahead.
helps headache. No, it's fine. She'll just make a tea that helps with headaches. She'll just pull kind of like very kitchen sinky, just kind of pull things from the table, a little honey. Um, she'll pull lemon out of somebody else's cup. She'll pull mint from somebody else's, and she'll just kind of mix it all together and just make this soothing concoction for Ren to help his headache.
Oh, try this. And the professor will kind of reach into his pocket and kind of pull out the bits of the rose bush, the sample that he had taken, and kind of plucks off a couple of the rose hips from the bush, and he just kind of holds them out. Like, sometimes the rose hips will help with some pain.
I did not know roses had hips, he said, sniffing at the tea.
Oh, they have hips and they don't lie.
You talk to roses.
Oh yeah, don't you talk to roses?
I mean, I guess I do talk to them, but I never talk with them. What do they say?
Well, you don't really say a whole lot. You really just give them all your prickly little secrets, and they hold on to them like all the prickly things that they do.
Oh, but you said they don't lie.
It's hard to lie if they don't speak.
Oh, that's true, I suppose, isn't it? All right. Okay. Yeah. I've never told a rose my secrets, but okay.
He nods and just kind of offers the rose hips over to Yuki and just kind of gestures into the tea.
Oh, she's already taken them and is blending them in.
He just kind of winks at her.
She'll smile, wink back, and she'll, as she's making the tea for Ren, again, you all just kind of feel this sort of vibration in the air as she is purring, but she is making this tea and kind of trying to infuse all her good vibes, all good vibes and happiness in this tea to help with Ren's headache. So she will finish with that, and then she will hand the tea to Ren and say, "This should do the trick and ease your headache."
Thank you. And Ren will slowly start to drink the tea.
He has always helped me.
Ren, you gain back 3 points of health.
Oh, yay, health! I'm
Yeah.
back to full again. No, wait, I'm only back to close to full, but that's still better.
3 points of healing damage.
Ren will sigh deeply and say that seems to have helped significantly. Thank you.
Yuki smiles, very happy that Ren is feeling better. And she says, "I am very happy to help, as you have helped us, and will continue to help us. We're all here for each other, and that is balance."
I'm really glad I met all of you.
Glad I met you too.
Yeah. And we'll figure things out, you know? We'll figure them out together. Ren, my head hurts me sometimes when I try to remember things. Tea's always helped me. But, you know, the headmistress just said not to force it. So, what if it's happened a few times today? Maybe that just means that you're getting closer to something coming back.
That could be it.
Yeah. Well, so it sounds like, do we want to try to go tomorrow, or should we kind of wait a bit, another day, and try to get as much as we can from the headmistress before we go? And the Sentinels also said that they would help us with provisions and whatnot.
I think it would be wise to gain all of the knowledge we can before heading out. Maybe we can speak with his Lord Highness something
He's
Fedwin.
got a lot of titles.
It's
Like, a
very
lot.
Commander, Captain something Fedwin. And then she'll look at Reverie and say, since we are going to be delving into temerity and maybe what's happened to her, it is probably a good idea to go see the headmistress again and see what else there might be to gain.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I mean, especially if she disappeared not disappeared, but she left 6 months ago. Maybe the headmistress knows where she was headed, or what she was working on. You know, she's a professor, right? Maybe she was going out to study, and that's when she got caught up in some business. It might help us understand where to go forward with.
Or what she might have gotten into.
Yeah, that too. I don't know. It just seems so strange. All of this just seems so strange. I told Reverie, but I don't know if I told anyone else. Last night, when we went out, you know, we left the captain. So many titles. Captain, several titles. Fedwin. We left him. Came back. I went out to see if I could help. I can do a little bit of healing, and I thought maybe, you know, it would be needed, but no one was hurt. I mean, I don't mean it to sound like I'm upset about that. I'm not. I'm really glad no one was hurt, but that's a big production, right? To make sure that no one gets hurt when you're setting fires to things. Like a real big production to have so much put into it just to steal a piece of stone. A piece of stone that seems like they could have taken at any time. It just seems like there's more bits that we might be missing, is all. And maybe Nariko was right, and it's been a production because they're trying to get caught. Somehow, anyway. I don't know if that makes anything better, but if this person is Temerity, maybe she did it this way on purpose so that someone could try and stop them. So maybe she's not bad. Maybe she's stuck in a bad situation.
People did still die, though.
They did.
Bad situation or not. It's hard to weigh the life of others against one.
You're right. But that's what makes me think that there's more to this than just... I don't know. It just seems like there's more here than just this one piece of stone. I mean, otherwise... I mean, think about it. Why go through all the mess? If you just needed a bit of Kiolna, you already had her. Could have taken it 3 days ago. 4 days ago. But you didn't. You waited. So why did you wait? Were they waiting because, I mean, when we first got into town, what was one of the first things that Kiolna told us about the festival? Was that there was rumours that someone from the Thorns, the Black Rose, were coming. What if they waited because they knew Fedwin would be here? Maybe they thought he was going to stop them. I mean, I don't know. It's just that he was in the stories. He was, and he did travel with them a lot, and he knew Temerity. What if she was hoping that if she waited and timed it right, that they would see each other? Do you think that that's something that might? I mean, otherwise, timing-wise, it doesn't really make any sense, unless they were trying to wait for something bigger.
Seems to me that they look, at least in my mind, that they could have just been waiting for the perfect scapegoat. I mean,
Maybe.
what better than a group of wide-eyed newcomers who are looking to help? Just the right place at just the right time.
I mean that's true, but it still begs the question as to why even wait for newcomers. So you could have left, like if she had gotten in there with the bit of Kiona that she needed, she could have taken that stone and left immediately, and all the people pretending to be sentinels could have walked out of that room, locked the door behind them, and dispersed into the crowds, and no one would have been the wiser. They've been part of the sentinels for at least a week, at least that much time, because they had to get here to get Kielna. That was at least 3 days, and then to get people in position to be guards. I mean, it sounds like there's a lot of sentinels. There's a blended kind of in, but nobody else died. Nobody else got hurt. So why wait? If you could have done it, if it was just as simple as you just needed this piece of stone, why even have Fall Guys? Because the stone's still gone. They didn't gain anything from us being there, did they?
They did. They gained time.
No.
See, if they didn't have a Fall Guy, then they just know that there was someone who took it, and then people can just start looking for them. Where if they have someone to pin it on, people are going to be tied up in paperwork and.
But it only was like for a couple hours. I mean, they have magic they have truth magic and things to talk with the dead with, and it seems it would be much easier. Maybe I'm making it too simple in my mind, but it seems like it would be much easier to take something and disappear and leave no trace behind, because then where are you going to even look? You didn't. If they look like Kiona and then they found Kiona dead, then it's just someone looked like Kiona came in, or did Kiona come in herself? She died, and then something else happened while she was in there. There's no way to find out. Like even your little magic that you did that brought Jeffrey back. Well, not back, but here brought Jeffrey here. Like it didn't show you what happened in the room beforehand, just that there's something that happened there. It left a bit of magic behind, so all that would have happened is they would have known a little bit of magic happened. And if they couldn't trace wherever her portal went, then what was the point? All it did was buy them a few hours, because everyone could have left and gone off to find him immediately. But we don't even know where they went. If Yuki hadn't seen and smelled and heard the cave, we wouldn't even know to start even trying to look for a cave. Do you know what I mean? So like waiting for us, or not us in particular, but waiting for people to be in the room seems to have made it more complicated than it would have been if they had just stolen it and nobody knew it was even gone. Because also that chest was closed. How long would it have taken for someone to even go look for it? How long would it have taken for someone to go check to see if it was even had been altered or not? If I don't know, I just think the whole thing seems really, really complex and not necessary for what it was they were stealing. If they had someone who could pretend to be someone else get in there, and actually, it sounds like they didn't even need to kill Kiona to do it, because that circle was keyed to Kiona to go into, but Fedwin said that they must have had something of hers on them, so like some sort of amulet or key or bit of hair that let them pass through the portal. A really good thief could have stolen that, gotten in, gotten out, left no trace behind. So why the production of it?
Noriko
It
chimes
seemed
in and she says, well, perhaps that's the point, is to make it more complicated than it should be, because in situations like this where you have a security force that is investigating what happened, it splits their attention.
Hmm.
And
So now they're trying to look for why as well as who.
exactly.
Oh. I
and
guess
also
that
take into
makes...
consideration that this did not go according to plans. They absolutely could not have guessed that a bunch of nobodies who just showed up for a festival to be able to stand up to their attack force. So they probably planned for us not to win and either subdue or be subdued.
That's
So,
true.
I mean, from a planning perspective, it's kind of brilliant. Tie everyone up in the what ifs and why are they here? Why is it so complicated? In reality, if they just took it and left, that'd be it. We're looking for someone, they took this thing, and I mean, any wizard who's capable of scrying on objects should be able to find it. I
When
don't
they
really know the magical capabilities of the Sentinels, but it just makes things a little bit easier for them to get away. Let's get a little more time so that people are tied up investigating.
I guess that does make sense then.
Which
Still.
begs the question then, what should we do with our time? Because if what they really wanted to get away with, besides the stone, was time, do we really want to be spending a lot of time deliberating? Because I'm willing to bet that even once we get all the details and we get to the cave, if we can find it, they're probably not going to be there and erase all traces of themselves.
I mean, maybe, but it also doesn't do us well to rush in. Better to have as much information as possible. And I mean, not for nothing, we did come out of the other day's battle. We were all still standing at the end of it, but it was really close. I mean, that when that man hit me, if Ren hadn't been there, I wouldn't have stayed on my feet. And then Temerity and Bahar both, they got hurt real bad. And that was just against a few of them. What if we just go running after them? We don't want to end up in that kind of situation again. So maybe they did want time, but it also doesn't hurt us to take our time too and make sure that we be careful about it. I mean, I'm not saying we have to wait for weeks, but another day?
I agree with Jade. I think to your point, Professor, they definitely would have, if they wanted time, would have definitely not hung out at the cave. So whether we go now this instant or we wait a day and do some research, they will not be in that cave. We are too far behind them at this point.
Plus, if she's able to just portal herself around, she might have popped in and popped back out immediately.
She probably did.
Well, Fedwin said that that piece of stone was part of a larger spell work, right? A teleportation circle? Some sort of magic like that, right?
Yeah.
So, and the big piece, the rest of it is in their compound that's, I don't know, did he even say where it was?
I don't remember in character if we found out where it was.
But he said there's scores of sentinels there. And now they're probably going to be alerted to the fact that somebody's got that chunk of stone. I'm sure they have more people on that. So maybe they wanted time to get away. But maybe they still need more time to actually finish their plan. Because by this time, it's only been a day. A little over a day now. If the Sentinels have the power to speak with dead, I'm sure they have the power to send a message. A quick message to any other Sentinels up in the compound, so by now they're tightening ranks, I'd imagine.
That didn't really help here.
But they weren't checking for this here. Remember, all the Sentinels were missing the pins here. They didn't even have that. They just had the cloaks, and because it was a festival and nobody had ever attacked them like that before, no one was paying attention. So maybe this time they are.
Joe, can I roll something for knowledge on lore of the final battle against Vaxis?
That would be a history check.
History.
What are you trying to recall?
I want to know who was involved in the last battle and how and like went through that portal.
So the stories. This is pretty well. I would say this is pretty well written about. There is the story of the final battle on the battlefield with all of the Thorns' allies showing up, and that the Thorns themselves were able to get into the castle walls and into the grand hall of the compound, making their way into kind of almost like a, I guess for lack of a better term, like a throne chamber, where the teleportation circle was etched into the stone.
Would it be widely known? Because at this point, there's a few of the Thorns were just kind of like drop in, drop outs kind of thing, and I know that Temerity wasn't there for the whole thing. So would that lore account for which cast of the Sentinels went through there? More specifically, I want the professor to try and figure out, does he know if Temerity went through that circle previously? Like, would she know it enough to be able to teleport in past defenses?
Professor would know that as part of that final battle, Temerity was not present. It's pretty well known who was, because they, made a pretty grand entrance before the start of the battle.
Okay.
But as far as Temerity being able to make it through that teleportation circle sometime after the battle, it is not known for sure, but seems unlikely.
Okay. So, with a thoughtful look on his face, the professor just kind of nods concedingly and just says, well, on the plus side, she probably doesn't know the area as well as some of the other Thorns, given that she wasn't in that final battle. So she wouldn't be able to just pop in with the stone and take the portal to the astral plane. So we have that on our side.
Yeah, so maybe time isn't against us.
Well,
Especially if they took this long to set up this little thing. I mean, I imagine something against a Sentinel compound is going to require a lot more dramatic effort.
it's true. I would hazard to say that I agree we should get as much intel as possible, but anytime you're chasing someone, time is always against you. Whether it's a lot of time or a little bit of time, but I don't think a day will hurt too much, but we certainly don't want to become complicit. The first 48 hours are the most important when finding a missing person.
Well, that's even if we get to the right cave.
Yeah,
Sure.
we're kind of guessing at this point.
That's just the nearest cave to here, and that was just happened to be the one that, the Fedwin knew about. So, for all we know, it could be all the way on another continent. But we might as well try this one first, because, like Noriko said, that's close to Red's Wharf, which is having the trouble with Garnet Hand, which Fedwin mentioned which there were rumours about, and maybe this Temerity is part of that. I don't know.
Well, the things that we do know is that it's a lead, and probably the only lead we have right now, so we might as well follow it. And
Yeah.
also, it stands to reason that whether or not she was directly involved with any of this void stuff, she is in some way. Even if she didn't do it herself, she was in a place where it was cast. This type of magic was wielded, and it's worth pursuing just for that alone, in my eyes. But obviously, there's many reasons to find this so-called temerity, which I'm not utterly convinced was absolutely her, but we need to keep an open mind that it could very well have been.
Maybe. I mean, a lot can happen to a person. Who knows what she came into?
She was a professor, right?
Yeah, Narco said that she was a professor down at Moonhaven. The
Kind of
stories I've read about her, she was only in a little bit of it, like very briefly. The bard never really followed up with her after the battle.
He strokes his chin a bit and it says, maybe it's a good idea to go back and speak to the headmistress after all. I have a question. I know back on Ekram, the faculty at the School of Magic are forced to give up their real names, so that way things like this can't happen. If someone gets into bad stuff, they can easily be compelled to come forward. Wonder if anything like that exists here.
That is horrifying.
At first glance, yes, but I mean, no one from the Zerity Academy has gone dark. At least not the staff.
That you know about.
He kind of winks a little bit, like, I've got quite a long range of history.
Yeah, but just because someone does something bad doesn't mean that they're going to do it out in front of everyone for them to know. There's different types of darkness. You can be doing a lot of bad things and not get caught. All it takes is you not getting caught.
Well, I mean, the protections at my school were stop you from, not necessarily from doing bad things, but from doing bad things with magic. And I would think that stealing an important artifact like the stone and using magic to do it would register fairly high on that, raise some alarms.
I mean, I guess. But that's... I mean, I've never heard of something like that being done. But I've not really been here very long either, so I'm not sure. You can ask her.
He thinks for another moment, like, you know what? All right. I mean, if they did have these protections here, we wouldn't be having this conversation. They'd have already called her back for questioning, I'm sure.
Probably. I mean, and Reverie's got a really powerful spellbook, and no one's making her make any kind of anything. Or are you saying it's just the professors? Just the people who work at your academy?
1 second. Just the professors. For context, in order to become a professor, part of the faculty at the academy in Akram, when you sign your contract, part of the contract is forfeiting your true name. Every professor has to do it. That's why I'm called the professor. I wasn't born with this title.
Well...
You can't ever use your actual name again?
I don't even know what it is. This is my name now. No one does. It's serious magics that once I agreed to it, even my own family knew me as a professor.
That's awful.
Yeah, it's just a name.
Names have power. But
that's why they take it.
But you're missing a big part of that. Your true name is something that you get, but the name that you grow into is just as true as your other name. If you are now the professor, you know that can be used against you, right? That's as true a name as any if everyone knows you by it and that's how you define yourself. That's why when people change the names, when that becomes their identity, that becomes their true name. The first one still has a little bit of pull on you. I guess it still works, but this one is going to work just the same.
That's true, but that power doesn't really go anywhere, at least not with the school's contract. I can feel it. I can feel a connection to it.
I guess it's maybe just the school's way of making sure they always have you on that string.
Well,
I don't mean that in a bad way. I don't mean that in like a bad way, but like
no.
they always have a tether to you, so that if you get in trouble, maybe you can call them too. Names are a powerful magic, and if you gave it up to them, then that's something that they have.
That's why they do it. I mean, as professors, you have a lot of access to a lot of very powerful spells and tomes and scrolls and artifacts and weapons and objects of magic.
But you have all that you can. Wouldn't you be able to give access to that to those you teach?
You would think. It's... I don't know how to explain it. It's like an invisible wall. If you have the intent to use something in a negative way, under my contract, you just simply can't do it. It's like,
what if you don't think it's a negative way to use it?
It's not up to the...
But it's all about intent, isn't it? If you think you're doing a good thing, then you'd get past that wall. If you truly believed that you were given access to something to someone who desperately needed it, or that was going to save the world, who decides what's good and what's not, if it's all about intent?
Sure, I was like, honestly, I don't know the nature of the magic. Probably something from the Feywild. But it's not a passive thing. It's not open to interpretation. If I think that I'm doing the right thing, but it's going to harm a lot of people.
What if it's going to harm more people for not doing it?
That's a thing. Somewhere, on something, there's some sort of decree, I'm sure, saying what's right and what's wrong. Who wrote it? I don't know. But I do know that, so far, to my knowledge, it's kept dark wizards from appearing from the college staff.
Just from the staff, though.
Just the staff. I mean, we don't make a habit of letting a lot of those things get into the students' hands.
Mm. When you're buying someone's magic, it always has a way of working its way back at you. I'm glad it's doing good for you right now. But magic like that, that's what contracts are made of. That's what bargains are made of. And there's always someone who knows their way around the wording of a bargain in a contract.
It was absolutely a contract. The thing is, at least for me and the other staff at that school, is that you really have to weigh out the benefits. Do you want to be a professor at this school? And if you do, these are the terms. And apparently enough people have agreed that the terms are worth it. I know for myself it gave me access to a lot of things that I needed for my research.
What are you researching?
He just grins from ear to ear like, why, arcane history. That's why I'm here. I'm on a research expedition to write this. And he pulls out like his journal. Is like, I'm writing a textbook.
On history?
Yeah, Pelinor's arcane history, like the magical histories of the world. You'd think that there'd be more documentation, but really there's not.
What's really interesting? Are you going back all the way back to the beginning, or just like this age?
As far back as I can find.
That's really neat. Is anyone going to be able to read your book when you write it, or is it just going to be for students?
He kind of scrunches up his face like, it's a good question. Do you think people would actually want to read it? school textbook just for fun when they don't have to?
I mean, if it's interesting, I'm sure someone's going to want to read it. Maybe
Well-
don't make. I mean, it doesn't have to be necessarily a textbook. It could just be a history book.
Well, I mean,
History is textbooks at times.
it's true. Well, that'd be up to the publisher, I'm sure. I mean, I got my sabbatical on the premise that it would be a textbook, but textbooks don't just live in school, really. You could probably find lots of textbooks in any old library.
You could also write a textbook for the school and then write like a more I don't know, less textbooky kind of book for outside the school. So then you have 2 books.
Like a plain English or a plain common for the layperson.
Yeah, maybe a little more simplistic than someone who's not taken tests for it, but who just finds it interesting and would like to learn. I mean, not for nothing, but not everyone can go to school.
This is true, and it's a bloody shame.
Yeah, so maybe if you make it that's not like a textbook, maybe more people will be interested in it, be more accessible.
Well, that's definitely something to think about. I mean, what's a textbook really that other than just a really boring book with no good guys and bad guys?
I mean, you can always write a history book that's it's still factual. It's written in a way that more people can kind of understand and follow it. That's not kind of broken up by like, I don't know, tests or overly complicated terms that people who don't go to school might not understand. I know sometimes you and Arco get to talking and it sounds very interesting, but I've no idea what you're talking about. I've never been to school.
Oh, you should go. You would learn so much.
Huh. I mean, I guess I could now. I guess I could go to school now if I wanted to.
What's holding you back? You know, there's a lot more to learn than just textbook stuff in school. There's all kinds of things to learn, from social interactions to mundane things like belly dancing and wine tasting.
You have a wine tasting class.
Oh, yeah.
Do you just drink wine?
Well, you don't just drink wine, you experience wine. You know, really let it marinate on the palate, really pick out the notes, you know,
You just
cherry finishes.
hold wine in your mouth for a bit?
Yeah, you swash it around a bit. Then you
Just gotta
swallow it.
look at Yuki like, ugh. Sure. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Yuki just shrugs.
You mean you've never just, like, really experienced, not even necessarily wine? And he kind of looks at Yuki, like, tea, for example. You just sort of taste it. Taste the individual components. Taste how they marry each other and get really influence each other on your palate. It's not just tea, it's rose hips, it's chamomile, it's bayberries and ice pepper.
That's a lot of ingredients.
Tea's a lot of things. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but a lot of the really good ones are. He kind of blinks a bit and shakes his head like, what? How did we get onto that?
We were talking about school, and books, and then before that we were talking about history, and then before that we were talking about all the things that were happening, and we went on a really circuitous way of just following the conversation. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I would love to read your book when you're done with it, if we're allowed to read it. It sounds
Well-
really interesting. I like history. I like historical romance a bit more because it adds a little bit of a character bit, but I still really like history. That's where I learned about a lot of stuff is history books, and I have a whole checklist of places that I want to go to. But yeah, I'd never put school down because I don't know. I just didn't think about it. I guess I thought it's too late. But maybe I can now. Later, not right now because we're gonna go find a mystery to solve. But maybe after. That might be nice.
Never too old. And I mean, I would love to have you in my class. And honestly, there's all kinds of historical romance in these things. You know, without Bixby's romantic interest in Johnson, he never would have come up with Geordie's bypass cascade method.
Who's Jordan?
Oh, you don't know about Johnny's bypass cascade method?
No. See, this is why you need to write a textbook and then another book.
He kind of laughs a bit and just sort of leans back in his chair because he knows that if he starts talking about this, he will explain in painful detail.
Well, maybe like when you're done with your sabbatical, maybe we'd see if.
I'll tell you what, if you're interested, when I get there, when I return to the school, I will put in my personal word,
Really?
if you're interested, for enrollment.
Really? That's,
Yeah, absolutely.
That's so nice. Thank you. Yeah, maybe we'll see where we end up. Thank you.
Smiles and nods.
But yeah, we kind of got real roundabout talking about what we're gonna do. So I suppose in the morning then we go see the headmistress and ask her all those bits of questions and then see where we go off to.
Sounds like we have a plan to determine our tentative plans.
Sounds reasonable.
A plan for plans later. Yeah.
I love it when a plan to make a plan comes together.
Yeah, really right on track to doing something. Just eat now that Hilly has brought out our food.
Professor Captain picks a little bit at it, but he still has way more pie in his body than it should be physical possible. At this point, his stomach is like an extra dimensional space for the amount of pie that's in there.
Jade seems to have no problem eating right now. Reverie. How are you feeling?
If I told you I'm fine and nothing's wrong whatsoever, would you believe me?
No, not even a little bit.
Okay, well then I'm only so-so.
Yeah. It's okay to be so-so. You don't have to be fine right away. And maybe you won't be fine for a while, but, you know, that's what we're all together for. To make it a little bit easier on all of us. She's gonna lay her hand back on Reverie's, like on her leg, because they're eating and she's writing an alatar, and just give her knee like a little squeeze, and just say, but I promised. Yeah, I'm not gonna let anything happen to you.
Thank you. Look, I need answers, and I guess you all are going after this temerity person or whoever that is too. And if you're going to help me find temerity, there's something that I need to tell you all.
Ooh,
Insight check.
You can roll inside if you want.
Oh yeah, that's an 18.
What are you trying to figure out?
Is she about to tell them what
Yes.
what Jade thinks? Okay, so she immediately puts her her things down to free up her hands in case somebody has a reaction.
Professor said something in there that I missed. What did he say?
Oh, I love a reveal.
Oh,
She looks around like, are there people nearby?
there are people at some tables. There's some people at the bar. There's kind of like that low murmur of just general crowd noise. Go ahead and make me a perception check, though. With your 18 perception, you take a look around, and if this is something that you're trying to keep between you and your party at the table here, um, looking around, you realize, or you can see that it doesn't appear anybody's really paying attention to you.
She would still be really uncomfortable with it.
Reverie, do you want to go up to the room?
Yeah, I should probably tell everybody in a more private setting.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go to the room.
This was
Yeah.
me.
Let's do this after dinner.
That sounds great. Everyone gets a full meal. We all had a dessert first, so.
Cliffhanger.
So the rest of the night progresses. If you wish to have any more conversations, feel free to do so. But Hilly will bring out food to you, and she'll refill drinks as requested. The rest of the evening is pretty calm and casual. As I said, the low murmur of the crowd in this tavern. As the night starts to get later and later, they start to disperse until there's just a few stragglers kind of left at the bar. Again, just like revelers from the carnival, just kind of just finishing out their night. But as the night uh, goes on, um, you're able to hang around for as late as you like, or go up to your rooms whenever you're ready to get some rest, or for Reverie to pull everyone together to have a little bit more of a discussion.
Jade will head up to the room as soon as Reverie's ready to go.
Yuki will follow.
Ren will trot after them.
Professor will pull up the rear just casually with his hands in his pocket, kind of whistling a jaunty tune as they walk through the halls to the room.
I do believe
He has a lot of energy.
Naruko would be sticking closer to Jade and Reverie, I think.
Yeah. And I'll make sure the door is shut.
Thanks.
Are you sure?
If we're looking for temerity, they need to know.
Okay.
Since I'm apparently... Yeah, that.
Okay.
If we're looking for temerity, it's going to be difficult. Because temerity is a shape changer.
Does that mean you're a shape changer?
Yeah.
Professor just looks delighted to hear this.
Yuki smiles and says, "How wonderful! Why were you ever afraid to tell us?"
Well, Bahar's reaction to seeing whoever that was kind of scared me a little bit, and I've had some not great encounters in the last month or so that I can remember when people found out. So y'all are taking this a lot better than I expected.
Yuki will
This could
get
be
up.
Cruel.
Yuki will get up from where she was settled on a chair, and she'll go over and she'll take Reverie's hands and she'll look in her eyes and she'll say, whatever the outside of you might look like doesn't change what's in here. And she'll kind of like tap on like her chest. You're a good soul in there. The outside is just dressing. She'll look down and say, this dressing might have very good abdominal muscles. And she'll wink at her. She'll say, but it's just dressing. It does not change who you are. And I am so sorry people have treated you poorly because of it.
Thanks. It means a lot to hear that.
Honestly, I'm excited. I thought I was the only one.
What?
The only one what?
He looks confused, like, shape changer. Well, I mean, maybe not exactly the same. I'm not a changeling. But...
You can change shape too.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this is just exciting.
You gotta show off those abs, don't you?
Abs for days.
I mean, it was mentioned. It had to happen.
So many abs.
So many.
You're a shape changer, but not a changeling?
He nods. Everyone got really quiet. What do you need me to demonstrate or something?
I cannot change shape. What is that? What is that?
I've seen Temerity change. Temerity. I've seen Reverie change shape. But it's, from to a person, different person. Are you changing into a different person? Or are you changing into like an animal?
Yes.
Like a druid then?
No. Oh, okay. Yeah. No one ever just takes your word for it. And it's like a poof of smoke. It's not like an anamorph's gradual shape change. It's literally a poof of smoke. And
Which
he
is tragic.
shifts into the humanoid fox-like person with two tails.
Ren's skull eyes widen. You are fluffy.
You know, I've heard that from people. It doesn't make it any less weird.
Staring at the professor.
And then he just quickly poofs back.
Walker has two tails to pet.
That would have been 3 technically. I'm sorry, I didn't mean that sound as disappointing as it came out.
See? Shape changer.
Huh.
Although, less abs.
Are the abs bothering you? I can get rid of them.
I like the abs.
Professor pulls up his shirt and reveals just very skinny. He just kind of wiggles it around. He's like,
Jade is looking everywhere else.
I've always had a dread fascination with shape changes, like changeling specifically. Like, can you choose to change just like a single part? Can you just I want to have abs, and then tomorrow just say, I don't want to have abs? Or do you just choose a form and the whole thing comes in? Or do you choose the form? Or do you say, I want to be a tiefling, and then you're a tiefling, but you can't change what kind of tiefling you look like? You have some sort of control. See, for me, I chose to be a human, and this is how I looked. I didn't really get any choice.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I have quite a bit of control, actually. Right, abs. Okay, and she'll just make her stomach not as defined. Yeah, I have a lot of control. I can change individual aspects. I can change my whole appearance into someone I've seen or a combination of people that I've seen, kind of. Yeah, there's. Is everybody sure that they're okay with this?
I'm okay with it. I think it's really neat.
Ren gives Reverie a skeptical look and then points at the skull face and the horns.
I don't know if I can do that.
I do not mean for you to do that. What I mean is I understand appearing to be different and that people can be cruel.
Yeah, they can be.
So, do the insides change as well? Like, can you just, like, subsist entirely on cake and ice cream and then decide, you know what, today I don't feel like having high blood pressure, and just change that part?
People eat just cake and ice cream?
Well, I imagine if you didn't have the consequences, you probably could. I know I would.
I don't know. I've never tried.
Right now, change the color of your kidneys.
How would you know if it worked?
Well,
That
you
one.
know whether or not your kidneys are different color. Like, do you like it? I feel like they should be blue today.
I don't know. I don't feel any different.
How about your tongue? Change the color of your tongue. Can you do that?
She sticks her tongue out. Hey, Joe, can I change the color of my tongue?
I don't see why not.
Did it work?
It went blue that time.
Oh, that's brilliant. Now, can you change parts of your body to look like another animal? Like, can you make your hair look like snakes? Or can you, like, turn yourself into, like, 3 kobolds in a trench coat?
No, I can't be 3 people.
But what if you're, like, one person who has the extremities and looks like 3 people, but is only technically one person?
I don't think I can do that. I kind of have to keep a similar form, but I can, like...
Oh,
It's
so
I can...
a lot of questions really quickly.
at this point, the professor is full on, like, jotting notes about everything he's learning in his journal right now. Like, all right, no to 3 kobolds in a trench coat. Damn, that would have been really cool. Can you make yourself have wings?
Can you make yourself have more tails?
That's a little bit different. I have to earn those tails.
I
Oh,
don't
I was
know that I
actually-
can do more than one tail. One tail is pretty hard, actually.
Can you make your tail look like my tail?
I might be able to make myself look like you.
Oh, do it.
Okay, I will shift into the professor.
Like,
He laughs and he claps and then he points at Yuki. Okay, do her next.
what do you mean you have to earn a tail?
Oh, well, I am a kitsune, and we can grow up to 9 tails, and we earn those tails through feats of strength and power and experience. I believe my second tail came in through my experience under the employ of one god of death. And he just kind of nods satisfactorily with that.
Do you mean Ren's a god? Or just
Oh,
a
no.
god?
That god. He kind of thinks, like, is it okay to tell? Yeah, it's probably not really under the full employ. Do you know about Kellenville?
Can I roll a check to see if I know of this god?
Religion check.
Reverie's going to shift back
No.
into her normal form.
That's a nat 1.
That's negative.
No, I mean with my thing, that's a 5. That's a god, sure, yeah. No,
Well, Kellenville, who's formerly Kellenville Lionsbane, who's actually used to be immortal, known by some as the Lord of Dead, Judge of the Damned, God of Death and Death. There's a lot of death gods. Did you know how many death gods there are? More than 2, at least, that I know of, that I've met.
Oh yeah, between sun gods and death gods, there's a ton of them.
So many. You know, you'd think that they'd have some better domains, or at least more. Or when they ran out, if just create more. I would like to be the dread god of bricks and mortar.
Well, maybe if you ascend to godhood, maybe you can. But how did you get employed by a death god? Did you worship it, or did you apply? There was a help wanted sign on the tent store that Reverie and I were at Webbenport, and that's how we got to bring the silks here. I don't know how you'd find that out from a god, though.
He kind of blushes. He's like, would you believe me if I told you it was a punishment?
Probably, yeah.
He nods. It was a punishment. I didn't exactly ask to work for him.
But you got a tail out of it?
Oh, yeah.
What happens when you get more tails?
Well, here's the thing about getting more tails. Once you grow another tail, then you'll have one more than you had before.
So it's a prestige thing. It's not like
Yeah, I
gives you
guess.
magic or something.
You don't really choose to grow. It just happens.
Oh, I saw natural progression for your people.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, that's really interesting, actually. I didn't know that kitsune were a thing. So it's a whole brand new thing I just learned today.
Well, we don't venture far from our forest. We don't exactly exist in.
You're from the forest?
He nods.
Oh. We're really far from the forest.
Well, you're never really far from a forest, but from my forest, yes. Very, very far.
Are you from this world, or are you from a different one?
Oh, you mean Pelennor?
Sure.
I'm not from another plane of existence, if that's what you mean. Yeah. Across the sea, there's a continent there. The one that I keep telling you about where I used to work.
Excellent.
It's there.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Only it's been a long time since I've been back to that forest. At least 150 years.
That's a long time.
Well, for mortals, I suppose.
Are you not mortal?
Well, not immortal, but...
You're not going to die of old age.
Yeah, I might. It's just going to take a long time.
Oh, okay. Wow. We're learning a lot of things tonight.
And
Okay.
You could have this kind of experience every single day if you enroll in a school.
Really?
Every day, there's something new to learn. It's really, really exciting.
She got to sit down on the bed at that. I don't know if I can handle that many surprises. Maybe.
The kind of excitement that you get from learning about Xanathar's real Madagascar observational process, you can simply learn that there are more people and more races in this world than you could ever imagine, that you've ever seen.
Wow. That is kind of exciting. But we're not talking about school right now, though. Well, everyone's okay with everybody being shapeshifters?
Yes.
Good. Okay. Reverie, how you feeling?
A little shaky.
Do you want to sit?
No.
I have a little pie. If you would still like a pie.
No, I didn't even finish my food earlier.
Yeah. I know.
No, I'm fine. If we're all fine, I think.
So we are all weird and different, but we are okay being weird and different. Did I miss anything?
No, I think that's a really good summary of the situation.
Yeah,
I
actually
have
sums up
summarized the
pretty well.
situation. Good me.
Yes. Wow. I didn't think at all that it was going to be a second shapeshifter. Wow.
The more the merrier.
I guess, yeah. Well, I mean, now that it's all out there, do you guys like changing between different forms? Or is it feel more comfortable to just do one?
It depends. I mean, if I go for a long time in one form, I say a long time like it's been a month, but you get used to it.
I like looking like this because it's very difficult to have a serious conversation with a person looking like, and he poofs back into his kitsune form like this, and then transforms back.
Oh,
I suspect people want to pet you.
yeah.
It's really nerving how many people want to touch you when you have fur. And he kind of looks at Yuki knowingly.
Jade is just nodding. Like, she's guilty of that, 100%. She totally did not sign disappointment twice now. I like your animal bits. That was probably really insensitive thing to say. I like you other form. Non-animal. You're person. Animal. Person. Animal.
Is it
Animal
because you
person.
want to touch my tails?
A little bit, yeah. But also you seem a lot less threatening when you're an animal person.
He tips his head a little bit to the side and he's like, noted.
People are...
You think I'm threatening?
I don't think you are intentionally threatening.
He looks around to the rest of the group and like, do I put off a threatening facade? I assure you it's
No.
not intentional.
Ren is like, none of you are intimidating. It's not necessarily that you are. It might just be me. It's fine. I have a problem with people who are usually men, and I already don't really know how to act and handle a lot of people. So it's already navigating new people and places and sounds and everything is already a lot, and then you are a man and it makes it a little more difficult is all, and it is a little bit intimidating, and I don't know what you're going to do, and that is a frightening prospect, even though I know you're fine, and I'm trying not to have that be a thing.
He holds up his hands in like almost like a defensive, be at ease sort of way, and he says, "It's okay, Jade. You don't have to explain yourself to me. I get it. Really, I do. But I would like give me some time, and I will earn your trust in this form, so that way you don't have to rely on my poofy, fluffy tails to be comfortable around me." Even though they are very poofy and very fluffy and very soft.
Okay. Good distance friends.
He kind of like measures the distance with his hands, like sort of gesture, like distance friends.
Distance friends. Yeah. It's good.
Then he kind of looks around and does like the gesture, like, distance friends? Anyone else want some distance?
I'm content with the distance I have.
He's kind of
As Ren takes like a quarter of the room.
good. Setting boundaries is very important, especially if we're going to be traveling together and knowing how close to sit and what talk about, what not to talk about. We're learning. Learning is fun. This is so fun. We're learning so much about each other. I like this. Let's do this again sometime.
Probably tomorrow.
Probably tomorrow. You know, I might also like to book some time with each of you all together to learn more the day after as well. Maybe.
Jade starts giggling.
If your schedules aren't completely booked up the day after that, perhaps I'll learn something then too.
I mean, yeah, that would be nice. I think I would like to schedule time with all of you 4 days from tomorrow as well. Are we really doing this then? Are we really going to go on a bit of an adventure?
Sinarco looks back at you, Jade, and she says, well, adventure or not, I still have to find my way to Tremonto. So,
Right.
I'm going to Red's Wharf either way.
Well, at least we'll all be together and until that point.
But it does seem that you all want to help, and I also wish to know what's going on with this cult, so I will stay and try to help you figure this out, if that's what you're looking to do.
I would really like that. I mean, I think we're all better together than we are if we lose any of us. And you said you weren't on a strict time frame, right? So it's okay if you linger for a little bit?
Oh, yeah, see, my mother has left it up to me to make my way to Tremonto in my own time, although you know, it is not polite to make someone wait too long, but as long as I'm making my way there, then she's seen it fit to let me find my own way.
Oh, but that's right then. Yeah, then we can maybe we'll just do this little adventure together and figure it out, and then maybe we'll make things a little bit better for the journey forward. I can't believe we're actually planning on really going on an adventure.
And if we do need an ocean crossing, we can use one of the von Gertzner sailing ships that dock at Red's Wharf as well.
Oh, that's great. The lighthouse, it's on the ocean side, right? It's not here in the inner bits.
No, it's to the south of Red's Wharf, across the channel.
Right. So I guess we will probably need one of the ocean vessels then.
It's across
To
the
get
ocean,
to
yes. To go to Tremonto.
I meant to get to the lighthouse and the cave that.
Oh, yeah, if you want to go to the lighthouse, then yes, we would need something that is more suitable for the open water.
Yeah. All right. Well, it sounds like we have that bit of a plan going. This is a bit exciting and terrifying, and exciting and scary, but exciting and terrifying.
But exciting.
But more excited right now. Yeah, I'm not locking myself in a bathroom yet, so it's still exciting, and the exciting bits of it. Necessary and exciting and terrifying and necessary.
I do have one request, though, before we go. Before we head to Red's Wharf, I would like to travel to Dumdural. I'd like to visit the orphanage there, and that's where my parents are buried. And I'd like to pay my respects and see them before we leave for who knows how long we'll be gone.
Oh. I mean, we already said we were going to be taking the day and collecting information. especially if we're going to be sailing with you on your ships, then I don't really see that it's going to be a problem for us to stop. And I've never been to Dumterall.
So she smiles and she nods. She says, "Great. I'd be happy to show you there." And she says, "Also," and she looks at Ren. She says, "There's a temple there to Ilmater, who might have some insights as to your origin and how you came here."
I am curious to see this.
Professor tried to check if you know who Ilmater is.
Yeah.
I'd say out of 12, you know that Ilmater is the god of martyrdom, perseverance, and suffering. Ilmater is the patron god of those who are suffering, oppressed, and persecuted.
So he thinks to himself, he's like, Ilmater. He's kind of like the not fake St. Balinor, right? I think he owes me money.
How does a god owe you money?
I don't know gold to use money.
Oh, they don't have to. At least I don't think they have to. Maybe they do. I never asked. What's Ilmater with you? Oh my god.
You said the not fake Saint Balinor?
Oh yeah.
Oh, because Fedwin just made it up.
Is that who did it? I've always had a really large interest in the Church of St. Balinor. It's really, really interesting, the whole story behind it.
I don't know if it was him that made it up, but in the story, in the books that I've read, the ones about that had Fedwin in it, he talked about St. Balinor, and then he went off to found the church here. But I don't have any records. I've not found any records of St. Balinor before Fedwin, so maybe he made it up, or maybe it was just a very small god to just had one follower for a really long time.
He kind of
course,
shakes his
Enough
head.
people believe in it now, so it probably exists now.
That's true. I mean, in just 23 short years, St. Balinor's influence has spread like wildfire. It's really interesting, really. There's not a lot of churches that have such a devout following as to organize a monastic military order. And I assure you, from my expert knowledge, which take from that what you will, St. Balinor is not a real person, at least not one that I've heard.
My papa also hadn't heard of it. He's pretty tuned into that sort of thing. But, yeah, probably exists now.
Maybe. Interesting fact, it's not unheard of for a mortal to become a god if somebody believes, or for enough people believe in them. You know, Kalimvor himself used to be mortal.
Oh, do you think that's what Fedwin's trying to do? Become a god? Because his
himself.
name is Fedwin Balinor, so...
Well, I mean, all the Sentinels are called Balinor. When they become a Sentinel, they shed their last names to become Balinor.
Do a lot of people shed their names for various reasons? Like Sentinels and professors and other people, maybe? I don't know.
Well, yeah. As we all know, names have power. I assure you, I don't think that the Sentinels have the kind of power over anyone to do anything with a name, but it's more symbolic in that, you know, you take the name Balinor to say that you are a Sentinel. You are no longer Joe Schmo, who was a blacksmith. You've dedicated your life and your very well-being to the cause of the Sentinels. So it's really just an honorific. And symbolic, really, and it's kind of lovely. I do really respect what the Sentinels do for their belief and for their cause, and the cause is, I mean, respectable enough.
I suppose. I mean, it seems real culty still a little bit, and also, I don't know. It seems like it kind of got away from whatever it was they were initially intending to do.
Oh?
Well, I mean, in the stories, they were talking about, spreading hope to the hopeless. But people are afraid of them now.
Well, anytime any sort of authority or authoritative figure rises up, everyone has a reason to fear, at least perceives them.
Yeah. But I mean, as soon as you get to the fact that you have churches and an army,
He nods, like, you're not wrong.
it doesn't really help that when you have 7 people trapped in a room and you're yelling at them. I can see why people are afraid.
You are still angry over that.
Do you think that Sentinels just round people up and trap them in rooms and yell at them?
Well, no. But if your whole thing is about bringing peace and hope, then they're not really training people to de-escalate the situations which call for peace and hope, are they? How many things would have been resolved if they had just put their pin through the door? Instead, they made demands and said that they were going to force their way in and they were going to do what they wanted anyway. If we hadn't opened the door, they would have made it happen and we would have gotten hurt. It wasn't a great situation, but there were other ways around that situation. And then when we did let them in, and they did show us their pin, they seemed angry about it. And I understand that they had a big day too, but they didn't have people actively trying to kill them. Fedwin said that every time the Sentinel showed up to a place, people ran away. All the people starting fires ran away from them. They didn't engage in a fight. So if that's how they react when there's terrible things going on, I understand why people are afraid. I wouldn't go to a Sentinel for help.
I'm not defending them, but just out of curiosity. If the rules were reversed, let's say there was a bunch of people locked up in your bedroom, your room here at the hotel, and you wanted in, want to know who they were, and they said, "Who are you?" You said, "I'm Jade," and they said, "Prove it. Show me your skull." And he kind of gestures to her bag, like, show me your bag. Poke it through the door so we can see that you're actually there. Would you do it?
That's an entirely different scenario, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, because I have a bunch of people in my personal bedroom asking me for something that doesn't actually prove that I am who I say I am, does it? But you have a whole group of Sentinels at your back, and all we're doing is asking for you to show us the one thing that proves that you're an actual Sentinel. Didn't even have to stick your hand in the door. If a guard had come to the door and said, "We're the guards, let us in," and we had asked, "Can you show us your guard badge before we let you in?" Anyone can just say they're a Sentinel, or say they're a guard, or say they're whatever. But if you have an official thing that says, "This is who I am, I gave up everything to be this," my name, everything I was before, to bring hope and whatever to everybody, and instead of trying to make the situation a little less hostile, they didn't. It's not the same as me coming to my room and finding a group of people inside of it by myself. We don't have something that says we're the group of ragtag adventurers out to do good in the world. We don't have a pin or a black rose or an iron nail or whatever. But if I did, and there were a group of scared people on the other side asking to see the symbol of this place I'm representing to be, I would have kicked it through the door. There's a door. It's.
How would you know that they were scared and not someone who wanted to harm you? I mean,
How
they're
would you
in
not?
your personal space. They're demanding you.
They're not. But they're not
show up.
in. We weren't in a personal space though.
We were in the Sentinel
in-
compound.
Yeah, we were in the Sentinel compound, and that's a compound. It's not someone's personal bedroom. It's a place that people go in and out of all the time.
Not
There's
the
people.
vault. That's.
It's still the point. Like it's. You asked me if a group of people were in my room, and I had something that proved beyond a shadow of a doubt who I was, because I have some sort of something that shows that I am. Yes, I would have put it through the door. Because I don't know if they're scared. I don't know if they're going to hurt me. But if they are scared, I'm going to try to not make them more scared. I mean, Yuki, you're from a monastery. Do you have something that represents who you are as a monastery?
But of course.
Would you have put it through the door?
If I were asked to prove that I was from my monastery, yes, I would prove that. For I have nothing to hide. It is who I am.
We didn't ask him to stick his hand in. And we didn't ask him. We just asked him for his pin so that we could prove that they even had one.
He nods and like, I was just curious. It's a bit of a different scenario, really. I think
is.
that the difficulty is a difference in culture, which is
Maybe.
understandable.
It's not even a difference in culture, really. These are people from all different cultures coming together. And they also had, I mean, not for nothing, but they also had 6 other sentinels and a mage with them. They had no, even if we were going to try and do something, lots of protection on their end too. Again, it's not the same. It's not the same as if it was just a random group of people going to a random house or a random room in a tavern. You're basically you're in a compound. You have many people to help you at your back, many people to call out for, and we're trapped in a room, one way or another.
What if he kind of hesitates, like, this is a lot of discussion on what ifs, but in the name of learning, I really, please don't mistake this for me disagreeing with you or being antagonistic. I just legitimately want to understand, because I think it's extremely interesting how people think and arrive to conclusions. But what if we look at it this way? What if you knew that Reverie was in your room, unconscious, where she was recovering in your bed, and then you came to your room and there was a group of people who you don't know, never heard of, don't understand why they're in there, but you know that Reverie is in there in a state of being unable to defend herself. And they demanded that you prove that you're Jade by producing one thing of very high value to you. One thing that would define you from a physical aspect. And it doesn't even have to be a bag. It could be a staff, your hat. Just understand that the reason why I'm asking this is because the Sentinel symbol, the pin, their badge, is one of the most prized possessions outside of the billowing cloaks. And so to give it up, it's like losing a part of you.
Alright, I have a question for you then. Is the material symbol you carry more valuable to you than the reason that you carry the symbol in the first place? Because if it was Reverie on the line, I would do anything to make sure that I could get in there and get her safe. And if it meant giving up something of mine to make sure I could do that, then I would. A pin is a pin. It can get lost or stolen or damaged or broken. The reason you got the pin in the first place can only be tarnished because you did it yourself.
But it's not a pin, it's a holy symbol.
Holy symbols are gifted, or given, or created, or made. You can make a new one if you needed to. Your devotion doesn't stop just because you give up whatever piece it was.
A cleric's ability to call upon the holy powers often requires a holy symbol to be intact, though.
So you're asking, would I give up my ability to use my power? The answer is still yes.
Knowing
Because
full well there's a group of people in there who, if you have no power to protect them, still go in there knowing that you would probably be putting yourself and her in danger as well.
So you're continuously changing the parameters of your question, but the answer is still yes, because I don't know what is on the other side of that door, and I do know I can't handle it alone. But if I am alone, that's the only thing I can do to try. If I've tried to break in the door, then that only means that violence is going to happen, very, very probably. If I don't break in the door, I have the opportunity to maybe prevent it from happening in the first place. Not only that, they were not alone. There were many of them. And if we had taken the symbol and broken it or damaged it or whatever, the other 6 of them still had theirs, didn't they? Completely different scenario. But the answer from me is still yes.
He nods, satisfied, and he says, "This is good to know. And the reason why I ask is that, as I mentioned before, the Sentinel's influence is spread like wildfire. They're practically everywhere, and it's going to be hard to find a place here where we're not going to be faced with them in some capacity or another. And it's going to be difficult to get the answers you need. Well, maybe.
Well, Fedrin already said that he can't get the answers he needs because people don't trust Sentinels. So that's already happening. People already don't trust them. And if yesterday was anything to go by, I see exactly why people don't trust them. And maybe they need to do a lot more thinking on why they became Sentinels in the first place than all the things tied into it. Because if not giving up your pin is the reason people don't trust you and fear you instead, then maybe that pin isn't worth having.
Well, this is certainly a discussion that I think we should elaborate on over time, not tonight. Because we're going to need to... He kind of hesitates, like, as hard as it is, and as much as I hate the idea of being an adventurer, but an adventurer needs to be able to trust when trust is hard. And sometimes you need to be proven wrong. And you will get hurt. People will get hurt, but in something as big, or as potentially big as this seems like it's going to be, we need to find as many people as we can trust as possible. And sometimes that means taking a stab in the dark and taking a risk when it doesn't feel right.
If it doesn't feel right, then I'm not doing it.
Of course. good to know these things, though, because I don't want to accidentally push you into something that you're not okay with, especially when it comes to trust, when trust is so hard won.
You can collaborate with someone and not trust them. You can work with someone and not trust them. It makes it harder, but it can be done. And Sentinels haven't really given us anything to really trust, have they? We know they can't protect the city. We know they can't. They obviously don't check their ranks of the people who just come in claiming to be Sentinels.
Yeah, not a good show for the headquarters of the Sentinels. Is this even the headquarters anymore? No, it started here. There's a very sizable force at the Citadel in Iceland as well.
I don't know. It seems like they're more worried about making an army than they are making anything else.
Sometimes that could be a comfort. Without an army, Vaxis wouldn't have been able to, wouldn't have been put down. Not saying that was a Sentinel thing, but that was an army.
But it wasn't really an army, was it? It was a bunch of people got together to do the right thing, not because they were told they had to, but because they were allies who were asked to do it.
What do you think an army is?
Definition of an army is someone who there is military training and people who are in charge giving orders, and orders that you're supposed to intentionally follow or not. An actual army, like the King's Guards or a naval fleet, is different than a bunch of people rising up to fight off something else. And that's what that was, wasn't it? There were dragons and there were Sentinels there too. But there were dragons and gnomes and people who had been touched by all that darkness, who wanted to make something good, and they came knowing that there was nothing else for them if they won or if they didn't. That they just wanted to do something good. They chose to do it. And if all that your army is just following the orders because someone said, some god or some saint or something else said you had to, it's not the same thing. An army's only comforting. An army's only comforting when you're the one who's benefiting from it.
His face kind of, it's a flat sort of expression. Like, well, definition, at least in common, for an army is an organized force equipped for fighting on land, really. And take lots of different forms, but neither here nor there.
Well,
anyways, we've gotten into very deep discussion, which under normal circumstances I absolutely love, and I really enjoyed getting this chance to know you, but it is getting very late. If we're going to be getting up in the morning to speak with the headmistress and perhaps becoming adventurers, we should probably get a little bit of rest. He has like an audible discomfort with the word adventurer.
You seem upset about the adventurer part.
Last time I had direct dealings with adventurers, I was called upon to revive a dead guy to stop a war that happened anyways. I kind of a bitter aftertaste.
So you don't like adventurers because they attempted to stop a war, but the war still happened?
That's a very simple simplification. It did not go in a positive way, which just left me with a very unpositive feeling about the whole thing. It's a bit different, though. Where I come from, adventuring is an actual vocation that you have to be licensed to do. Perhaps your feelings about the Sentinels and my feelings about adventurers stem from a kind of similar space.
Maybe.
He shrugs. But we're not there, are we? And we got things to do, and people who do things with magic and swords and shields and go from place to place looking for clues and solving mysteries.
I mean,
We're
really just trying to solve the one mystery.
He raises a brow. Like, maybe you're only trying to solve one mystery.
I mean, I think everyone's only really signed up to solve the one mystery. I don't know that we haven't really talked about if we're gonna continue on after that.
No, I was referring to myself. I'm here to follow through the mystery for Reverie, but I'm also here to solve the mystery of what's going on with this void magic, and it seems that those two things are highly tied together. Whether or not you guys choose to pursue it any further is entirely up to you, but I will be. Just so that way we're all clear and there's full transparency that there's more to this than just temerity for me.
Not
I
if it's
still want
just.
to know who I am.
That's right, and Ren wants to know who they are, and
And also Ren.
definitely want to help Ren do that as well. Sorry, Ren. I didn't mean to make you feel left out. I just meant
It's okay.
adventure-wise. This might all end with just this temerity person. I know you are thinking that this might be some really big, overarching, sinister thing, but it might not be. It could just be her. It could just be her, and she recruited other people to help her with whatever she was doing. It might end with her.
Absolutely love for this to end with her, because the alternative is far scarier than I would ever have guessed I'd be running into here.
I mean, I don't know. This is coming from me, but you're going really far with just a little bit. The things you've discovered are true. I mean, Jeffrey exists. We know that, but maybe it was just her. She's just starting out, trying to get this going off, What better person to try than someone who was a professor who had maybe access to all the things the headmistress said that they kept away from other people. Maybe it's just her. And she finally got the thing she needed to do the thing she wanted to do, and now we're just going to find her and see what we can find out, and then maybe just take it one mystery at a time.
He nods and he's like, yeah. If anyone was to insight that, it would be obvious that he is just like leaving it at that to sort of end the conversation, because he full on is not ending it there.
We got into a lot of discussion tonight. Yuki. What do you think of all this?
Well, I think it's very interesting that we've all been somehow gathered together and formed this common bond, this almost forged through trauma bond of helping each other with all of our individual goals, our individual missions as they were, and as well as the overarching goal of what is happening with the Sentinels. And I am enjoying this conversation. I am enjoying hearing each of your perspectives. For me, all of them, all of the things you've mentioned, finding temerity, figuring out what's up with her and how it connects with Reverie, and helping Ren figure out who they are, finding this fake Kiolna, whoever they may be, getting to the bottom of all of this, all of these individual things we each want to achieve, and how they're coming together to all mesh. We all need to be going to the same places, essentially, to solve our own individual mysteries. It seems very balanced. But understand, a wrong has been done. A balance has been undone when that piece was stolen. I will return it. I will find it. And the wrong will be made right. But not tonight. And she goes back to serenely sipping her tea, like she didn't just threaten to murder a whole bunch of people subtly.
That was really intense. In a really calming sort of way.
It is balanced, my dear. What is intensity if you do not have the calm to balance it out?
Yeah. Yeah.
How would you know one if you did not have the other?
I guess just by having the one.
Ah, but if you're only exposed to intensity or extreme calm, you would never be exposed to the other. Therefore, you would never have that true balance of knowing the other existed.
Do you? I mean, yeah, I guess that's true. Wouldn't it be more balanced to be like kind of in the middle?
The middle exists when the wrongs have been made right.
Okay.
There is the middle. But it is late. And as you say, we have been covering a lot of different topics this evening. If we are going to be searching tomorrow for answers, for information, should we maybe call it an evening and try to get some sleep?
Probably. Yeah. Ren, are you tired? You don't want to try to sleep in the bed again, do you?
I don't think it's gonna work yet.
Well, I do not have an answer. Maybe the professor has a solution?
Your sleeping problems.
Ren's having issues sleeping in a bed that's made for, not centaurs.
It doesn't make sense.
What if we take several beds and push them together? Is it not wide enough for you to fully lay down? What?
My torso does not feel supported.
Lack of support. Yes, yes.
What can I roll to gleam insight into Centaur
Yeah, what can
physiology.
you roll?
Gleam insight into what?
Centaur physiology.
You know, wiping Red's memory was the best choice I've ever made.
Yep.
I want to say medicine.
He,
Medicine or animal handling.
Oh, I rolled it.
animal handling, damn Joe. Every
Well-
fucking time.
I did okay with animal handling last time.
That's cold. That's cold, motherfucker.
Can I?
Cold.
I-
Ran the way I did my axe beak.
Can I also roll? I'll roll animal handling.
Sure.
Oh,
Cool
that's
people.
really good. That's 21.
Nice.
21.
Remind me what the question was again.
How to make Ren
Ren wants to
comfortable
figure
in
out
bed.
how to sleep.
Figure out how to sleep.
He doesn't remember how to
support
sleep, so
of
he
her
feels
torso.
supported.
Yeah, the torso support is apparently the issue.
I
For the record, Suzanne does have the answer. Ren just doesn't know yet.
I would expect nothing less than Suzanne to have the answer.
I think between the professor and Jade making these checks, I think the two of you can cobble a semblance of an idea together. I don't know what the answer is.
Is the answer this? Oh, you already put it in the chat.
Oh my gosh, wait, I missed something in the chat. Let me go look.
I also have this one.
I love that there's actually all these centaur things.
Yeah,
Yeah, something like that lean-to, that's actually a pretty good one. Let's try that.
the lean-to one. Awesome.
Yeah.
We'll just make you a centaur recliner.
Yay.
So, after Jade and the professor's intense discussion about police states and the legality of people using their power, we decide to make Ren a bed.
Yay!
It's a bonding experience for the
Teamwork
whole
makes the
group.
dream work.
What tool proficiencies do the two of you have?
We're gonna need help. I have no tool proficiencies.
Cartographer's tools.
This is gonna be very helpful.
Where you can
I can-
find the things you need to build this, but I
I
can't
can-
do it myself.
Yeah, I can sketch the thing that we need to build, and the professor can find the things to make it happen, and I can't put it together. Who's got tools?
Why don't one of you give me a raw intelligence check with advantage?
Oh fuck, that's you, professor. I think.
Yeah, I got brewer's supplies and herbalism kit. I am no help to you.
Woo! Thank you for
Nice.
advantage.
Professor, you don't know much about how to work with tools, but you can figure out how to put things together pretty well. So you managed to put together a pretty comfortable recliner situation for Ren.
All right, adding fantasy MacGyver to description.
Yeah.
Isn't that what you were making?
No, but it is now.
Good. Now you have two things that you're making.
Right, so just make sure to lean your torso like this and don't put too much weight on the front portion of the lower half. Just alleviate some of the stress that you'd be putting on the sternum. This should help you be at least a little more comfortable if you're not into
Right.
sleeping entirely horizontally.
Ren is exhausted and he just like kind of collapses against the thing. Ooh, it shakes a little bit, but he's okay. Make sure that his horns are up above the top of it. Oh, this is okay. This is nice.
All right,
Very quickly, the room fills with snoring.
Oh,
Gonna have to bring that with us.
I think Ren likes it.
Good job, team. Good job, team. And he kind of lowers his voice, realizing that he's asleep, and slowly backs towards the door.
Yeah. Oh, yep. All right. High five. Just a little one. Team high five.
Yuki will very quietly, touch the pads of her little beans to your hand.
five.
Team high five.
Team high five.
Oh, team.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm quiet about it.
Quietly shut the door to Ren's room. All right, great. To bed then, everyone?
Yeah. Meet in the common room in the morning.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everyone. See you then.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night.
So our
I
party
will.
heads off to bed. Long rest is had. Is anybody looking to do anything on their own or with somebody else over the course of the night?
I think Jade is going to do one final check-in with Redbury.
Okay.
That was a lot. How are you doing? I'm sorry I keep asking you the same question like every 20 minutes.
1 moment, please.
What?
Sorry, I'm laughing at Joe's phrasing.
I know what I said.
What did you say?
Like to
Not
do
really
anything? Would anybody like to do anything by themselves or with another person?
Okay, I missed that. I'm too into Jade mode right now. I'm not making my normal jokes.
Okay, sorry.
Don't be sorry for laughing at an amazing one-liner.
Okay, back in character.
Now you set me off.
I'm okay, I think.
Yeah?
I mean, that went better than expected.
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried. I was ready to cast some magic. Probably we can trust our friends, but
Yeah. It's good to know that we can trust them.
it is. It is. I'm glad. She's just gonna hug Reverie. I'm really glad that you're feeling okay. I know you're not. I know you're still reeling from a lot, but it's good to talk to you again.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of just zoned out there.
No, it's okay. We all need. You had a lot that just got kind of put on you all at once. There's no reason that you would have been fine with that. We all need time. I'm really glad though that you're able to talk with Avatar and get some answers. What else has he been telling you?
Hey, Joe, is there anything of importance that I need to know?
I think it depends on what you would have asked. Is there anything specific that Temerity, anything else specifically that Reverie would have wanted to know?
Let's see, we've already handled the explanation of Reverie being a clone, that we have no idea how a soul got into. Merity's been missing for 6 months. Alatar doesn't know what happened. I don't think there's nothing else that I can think of.
I think the other thing that Alatar would have said to you would be probably something about the circumstances of his transference from Temerity's book into this copy. The impression that Alatar would have given would be that the book that Alatar was inhabiting was hit with a type of banishment spell that sent Alatar away. I think that's the only important bit of information that would have come up in that kind of conversation.
He was banished when Temerity disappeared?
Yeah.
Okay. The only other thing that I can think of that has any relevance is that Alatar was banished whenever he last saw Temerity. And he doesn't know what's happened since then.
Got a bit of a time gap then.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be part of the things that we're going to try and find out. Well,
Are you okay?
I am surprisingly better today than I have been in a bit. Having the day with everyone today was just really fun, and just doing all the things that originally wanted to do, and just see the town and spend a day with friends. That was really great. And then I'm scared about going on an actual adventure, even if that adventure is just us going to see if these people are still even in a cave somewhere. But knowing that us going to do it is going to help a lot of other people, and one of those people is you, makes it less scary.
Not more scary? Because there's higher stakes involved?
I think because I think it would be more scary if we had nowhere to go for any answers at all. And then you're just left with no clues and nowhere to go, and there's just this big empty space just in front of you and behind you, and you have to paint it all yourself. But we have a clue, and we have somewhere to try and go, and we know at the end there's at least one person out there who knows something. And that makes it a little less scary, because it means that if there's one person who knows, maybe there's another person somewhere. And if this doesn't pan out, then maybe it'll lead another clue to another place to go, and it'll keep leading us forward. And it's less scary because now there's something worth facing, something scary to do. When it was just maybe some people trying to steal something, I just wanted to go. I just wanted to leave. I wanted to get out of this town and just put this behind me and go with you to Moonhaven and just pretend like it never happened. But now it's not just them stealing something. Now it might be a cult really trying to do something very bad, and I want to stop them from hurting anyone else, even if I can't be the one to actually make them stop doing what they're doing, I can maybe help them, people who are in power, find them and stop them, you know? And that's a good thing. And then they might have answers for you, and that means even more. I know we haven't known each other that long, Reverie, and I know everything is as new to you as it is to me, and you have a lot more tied up in this because of everything that we've learned, but I meant what I said before, that I wouldn't let anything happen to you. And I meant what I said tonight with the professor. I would do anything to make sure that you were okay. And in a really weird way, it is less scary because it's for you. And I want you to be happy, and I want you to find answers. It's still scary. I just don't want to run away entirely right now. I can't promise that may not happen down the line, and I have a bit of a panic attack and need some time alone in a bathroom or under a table. But for now, it is less scary because I have something else to fight for.
I think you're braver than you give yourself credit for.
We will see if that holds up in the face of something very scary. It was really terrifying, and I freaked out several times in the last 36 hours. And a lot of that was just because of the aftermath and thinking about it. And now it's been a little bit of time, and I'm thinking about the next thing. And now I'm thinking, well, we're all together, so it won't be terrible. And we're just going to go and we're going to find answers. I can't say if I'm actually going to be able to do anything in the face of something actually scary, but I want to at least try. And if it means you get to know more about yourself because of it, then that's even better.
I appreciate you being there for me.
Of course,
And
we're there for each other.
And I'm sure when any of us need you, you're going to be there. Because you are braver than you give yourself credit for.
I'm glad you think so. Are you going to sleep tonight?
Yeah, I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I know. Get some rest.
Will do.
Okay.
You should also, even though I know you don't do the sleep thing.
I don't do the sleep thing, but I do rest. But I'm not tired just yet, and I'm worried that I might keep you awake. So I'm gonna go downstairs and have another cup of tea, and then I'll be up after that.
Okay. I'm going to summon Mara, and she can look after all of us.
Okay.
And wake us up in case anything happens.
Okay. One more hug before bed, and then go downstairs to have my cup of tea.
Have a good rest of your evening.
You too. Get some sleep.
Yep.
Have my cup of tea, and then have a whole thing with Nariko in her room.
All right.
And eventually go to bed.
So the evening is restful. Y'all get a long rest. Morning wakes up. As usual, Narco's one of the first ones down to the tavern and is half deep into a pot of coffee.
Jade is just sitting on her bed, staring at Reverie. She's got to be eating a lot.
Reverie is now
Ren is
more
still
person.
sleeping.
How late do you guys want to sleep in?
Yes.
I will wake Reverie up once it gets to be around like 10.
At about 9, Yuki will make her way down. She will have gotten up about 8, done like some morning stretches, yoga, that kind of stuff, a little meditation, and then she'll head down and join Naruko for some breakfast and not coffee. She's going to stick with tea.
It's coming on around 9, 10 o'clock. As Hilly watches the rest of the party begin to congregate and come together, she kind of looks at y'all and she gives you a smile and she says, "Oh, late risers, I see. Well, you better come get some breakfast while it's still hot. I'm not going to have it for much longer." And you see on the bar she has a nice spread of, some toast with various jams. She's making eggs, bacon.
Yuki will head over and get some breakfast to have with her tea, and just nothing that needs to be actually RP'd out, but she'll just, exchange pleasantries with Hilly.
Okay.
Right? Yeah.
She kind of smiles and she lets the rest of you know that the Von Grutzner company has been very generous in providing the accommodations and the meals for Narco and her group.
Reverie, it's going on 10.
Already?
Did you want breakfast?
Yeah.
Do you want me to go get breakfast and bring it up to you?
No, I should get up.
Probably. If you want to see the headmistress, I think she's leaving soon.
Crap. And she bolts upright.
Alright. Oh, jeez, alright. That was quick.
Okay, food. Yep. And she just gets dressed and runs downstairs.
Oh, she was... Okay, she's motivated. I'm gonna get the bags. Come downstairs.
By the time you come down, you kind of see Narco had left earlier, but is coming back inside the tavern. She's got her I guess her briefcase of holding with her, and as you late risers enter the tavern, she kind of smiles. She says, "Oh, good morning. Sorry, I hope you didn't mind me going out early. I wanted to make sure that I picked up my dress from the tailors before we went about our business this morning."
Oh, that's right. We left your dress at the tailor's yesterday. Did they do a good job?
Oh, yes, it's fantastic. It's very well done. It's good as new.
Oh, wonderful. That's great. She's just loading her plate up with many meats and some toast.
On the way to or from the school, Yuki would like to stop at the herbalist and pick up some herbs.
All right.
But again, that doesn't have to be something that we need to RP out tonight. We can do it in chat.
Do you want to go directly to the herbalist first, or do you want to go to the the school first to make sure that Reverie catches Nessa.
Oh, school first, for sure. The school first. If there's an issue, if there's a concern of not catching the headmaster, headmistress, whatever, yeah, school first for sure.
Okay.
I just wanted to let it be known that Yuki does want to stop for herbs at some point before we leave town.
Ren will get some
Right,
food,
Apple.
and he will agree he wants to go with Yuki to grab herbs.
I've never been to an herbalist shop. I'd love to go. We can all go together after the meeting with the headmistress.
It is wonderful. You're going to love it.
Okay. Yeah. So, should we go now to the headmistress, or?
Yeah, we should. I gotta go get Mara, though, out of the room. She
Oh,
looked around. Mara's my familiar, by the way. I haven't had time to introduce her yet. She's an owl. I'll be. You know what? I'll just be right back.
Mora's
Okay.
really pretty. She let me pet her at night, and she's very soft.
Like 2 minutes later, Reverie will be back down with an owl on her shoulder.
That's Mara.
Yes, that is an owl.
Isn't she pretty? She's got all kinds of starlight in her feathers.
She has a radiance.
Yeah.
Oh, she's glows. I love that. Jeffrey, why don't you glow? Kind of just whispers into his jacket.
Jeffrey?
Yeah.
Oh, Reverend, you were writing in your book, when we got introduced. I don't think Reverie caught Jeffrey. Do you want to show Jeffrey to Reverie?
Yes, of course. I will give the disclaimer that my familiar is a little less common than an owl. And he kind of clears his throat. Right. Reaches into his inside pocket in his jacket and he pulls out like this quartz crystal-like thing and he points it outwards and this beam of light just shoots out of it before coalescing into Jeffrey.
I love his little button.
He's just like this little illithid, scrawny, really weird squid face looking creature with a hat.
Professor, as you call forth Jeffrey, please give me a charisma saving throw.
Yes. Ooh,
Oh!
yeah.
I'm going to send you a message.
Okay.
Oh God, what is happening?
I'm excited.
Secrets.
You get a red.
Jeffrey's going to tickle my brain now.
You get this red bead.
Hey, what language does Jeffrey speak?
Squid.
Listen, all I'm saying is that Ren knows Abyssal and Primordial, okay?
That's probably really good to know.
He is telepathic, so I think he speaks whatever. Well, he doesn't really speak. He speaks in emotions, but I think he just understands their thoughts.
Is it kind of like Peck, where it's just like friend?
Yeah,
Warm.
yeah. Except slightly scarier.
Think about it with all that weird sound behind it. Constant. Just constant.
So as you summon Jeffrey forth, Professor, it takes a little bit of effort from you, or a little more so than you did before, to bring him forth. And you almost feel like the type of magic that is fueling his existence, or your ability to call him forth, the type of magic that's used to call him forth, appears to you feel like that type of magic, you are becoming a little more familiar with it, almost as if you could be stronger with it if there were any other types of spells within that for lack of better explanation, school of magic.
He's quiet for a moment as he sort of like settles into this feeling and very curious about the nature of what he's feeling. Something he'll undoubtedly have to explore while they're out and about. He just sort of snaps out of it and looks to Reverie and gestures to Jeffrey. He's like, Reverie? Jeffrey. Jeffrey? Reverie.
I've never seen anything like Jeffrey before.
That's the beauty no one has. Well,
Really?
that's wrong. Headmistress has. A long time ago, apparently. Fun thing about Jeffrey is that one day Jeffrey will grow into a city-smashing size monstrosity capable of untold damage and destruction. But look at how cute they are.
That is not a fun thing.
One day, how soon?
That's a good question. Jeffrey, how long is it going to take before you turn into a giant monster?
I mean,
As
isn't he a familiar? Aren't familiars usually just one thing all the time?
as Jeffrey turns to look at you, Professor, to answer that question, all you can just kind of see is a vast expanse of space, and it feels like you're traveling through it at light speed, and that you're on that path for a while.
Whoa. I think it's safe to say that it's gonna be a while. And yeah, I think Jeffrey's just a baby. Or at least very, very young. I don't think it's going to become a different thing. It's just that the full-grown version of this thing is very large and scary.
I'm confused though. I thought when you called a familiar, that was the thing. Did you actually call an actual being out of wherever he lived? Because aren't familiars usually just like a spirit of something that you call forth? They don't actually grow or change, they just are.
Only, yeah, but
So did you actually pull the baby away from his mother?
I don't know. Honestly, I didn't think that spell was going to work. In fact, I didn't intend it to work, but Jeffrey, did I take you away from your mother? Do you have a mother?
The feeling that you get is of darkness, emptiness, loneliness.
Oh. I think Jeffrey was just alone, floating around in the void by themselves, lonely.
That doesn't really make any sense.
Wait. Jay's got a really good point. Are you actually here? You're not just a spirit. Are you an actual... This is you. Not just someone taking the form of this.
Jeffrey reaches out with one of his face tentacles and wraps it around like a quarter of your cloak and just kind of like tugs on it.
He kind of swallows really hard, like a real gulp, and like, yeah, I don't. It's starting to feel a lot less like conjuring a familiar and more like summoning.
I think you actually pulled something out, and this is just what it looks like when you pulled it out.
Well, that's new, and that spell should not have done that.
No, it really shouldn't have, I don't think. Oh, no.
Jeffrey, last question. Do you understand the nature of the void? Like, the power that brings you forth and what brought you here? Do you have an understanding of how it works and how it might be wielded?
You kind of feel this intense rush of thought and kind of an awareness that is definitely hard for any normal mortal to understand, and even hard for you to understand as well. Please give me a wisdom saving throw.
Oh no.
Big money, big money, big money.
Oh, hey, double digits.
Hey, 12.
You feel a bit of a head rush, Professor, but you're okay. You're mostly, unaffected. But you do kind of get that head rush and dizziness. Kind of like if someone would try to explain the concept of like actual God to you.
That's lovely. That's a whole lot of things I don't understand, and I desperately want to understand. I don't like not knowing. We're going to have this conversation more. Do that thing again. Maybe next time I'll catch it. Not now. I might fall over and that'd be embarrassing, but maybe later.
You get a feeling of confusion, but agreement.
They get me. Yeah. Any other questions? He says awkwardly as he realizes that it got quiet.
I have no idea at this point in time. I'm sure more questions will come up later. That's not. Reverie got Mora, and Mora's a familiar, and she is basically made of light, and she can poof her away and poof her back, and she comes and goes, and she's fine. But she's not. She just looks like an owl. I don't think she actually is an owl. But Jeffrey is actually Jeffrey the whole time.
I do not think the professor plays by normal rules.
Nope. I don't know a lot about different types of magic, and I've never been to your academy, and I don't have access to all the things that you have access to, and you seem very smart. But if you did a spell that was already not supposed to make Jeffrey, and then Jeffrey got pulled out of it, maybe just be really careful anytime you try any more magic that is affected and things like that, because we don't know what it's going to do. If this type of void magic is as dangerous as you say it is, then we don't want any more accidents. Not that Jeffrey isn't a very cute accident.
No, you're right. I fully intend to learn as much as possible about this void magic because I have a feeling that it's going to become important. But, to your point, safety precautions need to be taken, and honestly, I didn't know what I was expecting. I was expecting to learn about conjuration and thinking about who is very powerful in conjuration magic. I didn't think that for 1 second that this, until now, theoretical form of magic would come out of it.
I mean, well, how could you expect to know? I mean, it's all different and new, and you just kind of help discover it. That's just. I know we're still distance friends, and but I don't want to see you get hurt. Just be careful, is all.
He smiles warmly at her and nods. Thank you, Jane. And yes, now that I know that there's some... what do I want to call it? I met someone who used a very peculiar word for something like this, if I could borrow the vernacular, and calling it fucky.
That's a descriptor.
He kind of wiggles his eyebrows and was like, but effective.
I mean, I suppose it does enhance the sentence, doesn't it? I'm not going to repeat that, but yes.
Right. Well, let's try not to do any more fucky things on purpose unless it's really cool. In which case, we're going to get fucky with it. Just trying it out. I don't think I'm going to use it again.
No, mate. I mean, it was funny though.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're
We'll
allowed to
say
say it.
that
It's okay.
word
You're
for the
allowed to say it.
professionals.
I guess to the headmistress to see if she can tell us what other funky things are happening. I couldn't say the actual word, so I said that word instead.
Funky. I like that.
Funky.
Perfect amalgamation of fun and fucky. I like it. I'm going to use it. I'm going to use that.
Oh, yeah, great. You can totally, you can for sure use that. That's good. Okay.
Right. Off to the school. See if we learn anything funky.
To the school.
As the party makes their way out of the Blue Elephant after filling themselves up on coffee and breakfast, we end our session for the evening as we've reached 11 o'clock.
We seriously took 3 hours and did a bunch of philosophical discussions and debates about police states and what it means to have power.
Yeah,
Of course
sorry about
Yep.
that.
I apologize
What we do.
intensely for that, guys.
Literally what
All good.
It was a good conversation. Don't get me wrong. That was a great conversation, and Marcel, I love having the conversations with you. I do apologize if I overtook the conversation at all, though.
we're fine.
Okay, just make sure you let me know to shut up if you want to talk about other things.
You don't know how to shut up.
I don't know how to shut up.
Yeah.
That's why you have to tell me to shut up.
It's not gonna work. You get distracted easily.
No
It'll
proficient.
work. Look, Joe has told me to move on a couple different times, and I have.
That was a good conversation.
No, it's valid that we are setting up the values of our characters.
Exactly. That's why I was just letting it happen. I was like, you know what? Yuki's just gonna sit here and she's gonna listen to what everybody gives a shit about, so she knows.
Yeah, we learned a lot. And that is not the first discussion I've had in any character of this very thing. And I hope that that's not a theme for me.
What do you mean?
I don't want to be the guy who always brings up the political nonsense.
It wasn't political.
It was pretty political.
It really.
Okay,
I mean,
well, we're all cool with it, so.
yeah, this didn't feel like a political, like, well, fight the powers
Mm-mm.
sort of thing. This was more like a, hey, the Sentinels seem to have kind of lost whatever it was they started out with, even though, like, they haven't really. Like, they're still doing really good work, but people have started to, like, the tides have turned from them being like this scrappy little underdog thing to part of the establishment, and now people are starting to get like, oh, maybe we can't talk to you, but there's going to be places where people still can. It's all the same. It's all things. And
All they really need is a very sage-like, elephantly person to be their figurehead.
they
Right?
really do.
Hi, Neville.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Hello!
Hey, what's up?
when did you get here?
Like 20 minutes ago.
Nice.
In time for the squid discussion.
Then did
Why do you think I was posting memes into the Discord while you were talking about squid?
Yeah, I saw the meme and I was like, that is strangely on point. And then I looked at the meat and I was like, now I understand.
I completely missed the meme.
Mm-hmm.
Funk.
Good session, everyone. I'm going to sign us off by saying, be careful when you summon void illithids.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought you ended it.
I did not.
Good game.
I'm ending it now. Goodbye.